Welcome to FactSheet Friday. That's right, they're back. I looked forward to these every Friday leading up to FS17 coming out. We're very lucky this week. 4 fact sheets have been released. Each fact sheet has 2 pieces of machinery on, so we've got 8 new pieces of machinery to be having a look at and finding out all the stats and information about them. So, the first of these fact sheets is for the Massey Ferguson Ideal Combine Harvester. If you look in the information panel on the right hand side of the page, top left hand corner of that panel, it says Combine Harvester. This is an exciting one because this will be, as far as I'm aware, the biggest harvester in game. It costs €465,000, pounds or dollars. It ranges from 538 to 647 horsepower. It has a fuel tank capacity of 1,000 litres. Top speed of 40 kilometres an hour or 24 miles an hour, depending on what you've got your set on. And it has a tank capacity of 17,100 litres. That is, what, 3,000 litres, at least 3,000 litres more than the New Holland CR1090 that's already in game. So pretty impressive stuff. It says I think you can change engine setup, design, brand, because I think you can have the Fendt Ideal as well. So those are the kind of 2 options that will be available for the harvester. The second section down below is for the Massey Ferguson Powerflow header that goes with it. That's €79,000, pounds or dollars. It's a 12 metre 40 foot header, and you can harvest at 10 kilometres an hour, 6 miles per hour, which is pretty much standard in game as it is. What's interesting to note is at the bottom underneath that, it shows the different crops. I think the crop symbols have changed for the new game. That's something we didn't know about, but looks like the crop symbols are going to be different for FS19, and you can just change the design brand. I think again you'll be able to change that to the Fendt version of that, as far as I'm aware. At the very, very bottom it does say costs listed are for the base configuration without modifications. Final values may be subject to change. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, if you've managed to catch any of the videos that have been out and about since Gamescom, you will have seen lots of footage of people playing online, and part of that footage, I think everyone kind of got a similar experience of various different machines and the different aspects of the game. One of them was the shop menu, and obviously it's more 3-dimensional, and the fact you can change your vehicles, and those changes show up immediately. You can see what's available to you. So that's what it's telling you. Obviously the harvester is going to be 465. Any changes you make to that in the setup, I assume engine configuration, which is interesting for the harvesters because we've never been able to change the engine configuration. It's always been set at a particular one. Tractors we have been able to, but not harvesters. So we're getting a few insights here into the new game and what's going to be happening with these various different vehicles. So it's all fascinating stuff. So we need to move on to the second, which is the Fendt 1100 MT or the 1100 MT. This comes from the collaboration with AGCO, with Challenger and Fendt, swapping ideas, and the fact that you've now got Challenger were all tracked. Now Fendt have got tracked vehicles and Challenger have got, they had wheeled vehicles obviously already, but the 2 have kind of swapped over. So this one runs at 428,000, which would be obviously subject to change depending on any amendments you make to it. 492 to 646 horsepower, 1,000 litre fuel tank, 40 kilometres an hour, 24 miles an hour top speed, and you can change the engine setup and wheel setup. It's standard and 3 metre tracks are the ones you can have, as far as I can make out on there. It's a very, very nice machine. It looks very, very good, and from the gameplay we've seen already, they've done a fantastic job on these. It's just absolutely amazing. And then behind that, we've got one of the manufacturers that are fairly new to the game, that was announced a little while ago on Twitter and on the Facebook page, is Elmer's Manufacturing, and this is their Hallmaster. This is their auger wagon, chaser bin, whatever you prefer to call it. A cost of €93,000, pounds or dollars. 400 horsepower is required to pull it. It's a big bit of machinery. And it does say its capacity is 4,600 litres to 70,000. Again, that's putting it top end. That's bigger than the Brent Avalanche. That's 53. So that's a big piece of kit. And I'm assuming again you can change the capacities. I mean, it does say further down, when we look down, it shows all different crops that can go in it. Again, we've got some nice new symbols there for FS19, and then it says what's available to change is the main colour and the capacity. So the price, I think standard is going to be 46,000 litres, is £93,000, euros or dollars. That's going to go up depending on what capacity you decide to go with. So the third of our fact sheets today is for Samson. Now Samson is new to the game, so this is our first introduction to one of the new pieces of machinery. Samson, if you know anything about my guide to videos or my let's plays, I do like to put a bit of history and stuff behind manufacturers and things I find out, and because Samson's new to the game, I thought I'd do a little bit of digging and see what they're all about. So here goes. Samson are an interesting company. They are Danish, and during the 1920s and 30s, it was started from a village blacksmith called, I think it's Tange or Tonge Special Verksted, and the blacksmith helped the region's farmers and anyone else needed his services. On August the 1st, 1943, the village blacksmith became Samson. The company manufactured bridles for cows, stands for milk bottles, fencing poles and fencing wire tensioners. The biblical character Samson, known for his immense strength, inspired the company's name. So they've been going since the 1920s, which is amazing. Their main business through the 50s and 60s was manure spreaders. Up through the 70s, the company grew in size, and they started taking on work from professional contractors and everything. They moved into slurry spreaders, and the company has just gone on from strength to strength from there. They amalgamated with 3 other companies, making Samson Agro AS in 1999, I think it was. And they've got in 2005, all 4 companies were gathered in a brand new building in a town called Viborg in Denmark. This year, 2018, Samson Agro celebrates its 75th anniversary as a manufacturer of agricultural machinery and equipment. So just thought I'd add a bit of extra in there, just a bit of information. But looking at the fact sheet itself, what are we actually looking at? Well, we have got the PG225, which is the slurry tank. That is 87,000 euros, pounds or dollars. It needs 220 horsepower to run and has a tank capacity of 25,000 litres. It will operate at 17 kilometres an hour, 10 miles an hour, and it will take, as far as I can make out, and there's new symbol, I think it's a new symbol, for slurry. I think it's a drop with like wafty smell symbols coming off of it, and then you've got a digestate tank. You can adjust the wheel setup. You can have standard or narrow tyres, which means you can still be doing slurry and digestate spreading when there's a crop on the ground. It means you won't damage it because you can put narrows on, which is brilliant. I like the fact you've got that option on there. On the back of that, then you've got the SBH436. That's a drip hose boom. That costs 40,000 euros, pounds or dollars. It's got a 36 metre width on it, which makes it's out there with some of the bigger ones we've got on FS17 at the moment. And that will operate at 17 kilometres an hour, 10 miles an hour as well. On the top of that slurry tank, there is an attachment, and we're going to look at that in a little bit more detail. Well, I'll say a little bit more detail. I'm surmising certain things on the next fact sheet. But those are the 2 pieces of equipment from Samson on this particular fact sheet, the slurry spreader and the drip hose boom on the back of it. So we will very swiftly move on to our last fact sheet for today, which is the one that I think a lot of people have been waiting for, with John Deere being added in as one of the big, or the biggest new manufacturer in game. We have got at the top there, we've got the John Deere 8R series tractor, which you can see in the picture. It's 299,000 euros standard. It will go from 290 to 450 horsepower, 675 litre tank. It can run at 50 kilometres an hour, 31 miles an hour. What can you change on it? You can change engine size, wheels, and the wheel brand. I think you can go from Michelin's and Trelleborgs, and there was a few different options available. I remember from watching the videos from Gamescom. you can have standard, wide tyres, twin wheels and rear twins. It's just, it's John Deere. It's what everyone's been wanting for absolutely ages. It looks brilliant. I think looking at the new graphics engine, everything they've updated and changed for the new game, it looks crisp, it looks really detailed. I really can't wait to play it. Now, looking at that picture, there are two other pieces of machinery. One we've already looked at, and that's the Samson slurry tanker. The one that's actually on this fact sheet 4, is the Garant Cotti FRC, and that's the filled containers. That's the one on the left-hand side, the big boxy container. Now, we've had those in game already, and this one has a price of 25,000 euros, pounds or dollars. It requires 50 horsepower. It will hold 55,000 litres of slurry or digestate, and you can change the main colour and wheel setup. You can have standard or wide tyres on that. That's a fairly standard piece of equipment. It's good to see we've got them, because if you're going to be doing slurry, it comes in very, very handy to have them around the field edges. And it may seem like I've rushed that one a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's a tanker and it holds 55,000 litres of slurry or digestate. That's not what interests me particularly about this picture. Yes, that's the fact sheet for those two bits of equipment. What interests me more on this picture is if you look at the slurry tank behind the Samson, and I mentioned on the last fact sheet there was something interesting about it. With the new system in place in FS19 of equipment hooking up and all the hoses attaching, whereas before on FS17 you would pull up next to something and you would transfer slurry digestate over, you'd press a button, you'd hear the noise, and it would just kind of do it. On the top of that slurry tanker you've got an arm, a boom that goes across, which is showing that kind of hose system in operation. So on the back of that slurry spreader you've got that arm, that boom, which is used for doing exactly that, for transferring slurry or digestate into the tanker. So it's interesting, a nice little insight. I like the fact that's on there, so we can see how that kind of hose system is going to work. It's going to add that extra depth and bit of realism to the game, with all of the hose systems that are going to be in place, that when they hook up you actually see them, because there's always been that kind of concept of, yes, I understand that I'm transferring slurry or digestate whatever I'm doing, but I'm doing it through thin air. So I like the fact that's been added in, and that for me, apart from the John Deere obviously, which is a fantastic bit of kit, was fascinating. I found that really, really interesting, the fact that's on there. But that's it. That's all 4 fact sheets, 8 pieces of equipment. I'm really excited about every Friday now that comes out. I was with FS15 to 17, and I'm going to be with this one. I will put out Fact Sheet Friday every Friday. Hopefully, I've just suddenly thought next week I'm not going to be able to because I'm away on holiday. But I will continue after that. I will try my best to do as many as I possibly can. I hope you found this interesting in some way, shape or form. If you're looking to find these fact sheets, they are on the Giants website, on the Farming Simulator website. They're on their Twitter feed, it's on their Facebook page. The pictures are up there. Lots of people have been posting on Twitter and forwarding on, retweeting. And there are a few other people that are obviously going to be putting out videos. So there's plenty of information out there. The pictures are all there if you want to go and have a look yourself. But like I say, hope you found it useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.